Yay!
Happy spring, Lex.
Happy spring, Mandy.
How's it all going?
It's beautiful. It feels and starting to smell like spring. Thank the loving angels because I needed some to feel the rebirth. I needed to feel this energy, this nice this was a beautiful new moon. How has this new moon been for you?
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling this new moon. Like, I like it. I'm inspired. I've been wanting to connect with the earth. I'm feeling that come in. We have a lot of I was walking the dogs literally on spring morning and there were cherry blossoms. And I'm like, this is cool. I'm in Jersey right now. I've lived in all over. And where I know Lexi from is my other home away from home, Vermont. And it's so cool because in Jersey, it's like the seasons are right on time. Like the seasons come right on in. So I'm really enjoying that. And I'm struggling with allergies a tiny bit. And we're going to talk about natural remedies for that too. What's going on spring weather wise where you're at? What are you feeling? Warmer temperatures?
Yes. Yeah, we've got warmer temperatures. It's nice to hear the brook running and to see the birds and to just have the smell and see buds. I can see underneath some snow some little sprouts and see where growth is happening. And since this last, the last full moon was the worm moon, which is, if you go by like Farmer's Almanac, is known to be the time of year, the season, the moon that starts to awaken the earth again, the worms within the earth, and also the worms within ourselves.
More
So,
parasite talk coming soon.
so which is in such alignment with bringing that awakening in, and then you have this new moon for that going in and cleansing, that time of releasing, and that time of planting those seeds, that spring cleaning,
Mm.
inside and out.
Have you been feeling that? We noticed in our goddess group and talking to our friends and stuff, that's naturally just coming in. People are like spring cleaning, ready to go. What's been happening with you for that?
Oh, hardcore purging. And it was like I felt like I've purged my body so much this winter and just this spring too. So now it's like the spirit guys are coming in like you got to clean your space too. So it's just been like get rid of everything, simplify. And I've been holding on to things for so long
Mm.
that like been energetically attached to. So I feel like I've been carrying around some dead weight with me, and this recent season has really been awakening like that. Like it's safe to release it. Those memories will always be there. I don't need to hold on to this material object. That's not coming with me when I go, anyways. But the memory, the lesson, whatever energy that carried will always be with me, and I will have that. So it's helping me release things, which is so nice. Which one of the things I am not releasing are these little treasure charms from our past.
Oh my goodness.
And so it was actually through the clean out, right? The physical and internal clean out I'm going through, I came across some of our old yearbooks. And I have a particular yearbook in my hand from the year Mandy graduated 8th grade.
Class
And
of 2000 for 8th grade.
it's so funny because it was actually like going through my yearbooks that I came across. I'm like, these I keep, and I've been like, Marie Kondoing, the clutter bug, every there's the tidy mom, there's all these different people I've been, intensely watching, but not putting into really
I
action.
love Marie Kondo.
Yeah. I've put some things into action, but like I've actually been putting the action in now and like applying it in my daily life and in my house, my home, and my awareness. And so I was like, through
Doing the shit.
looking at this, I was like, oh, I'm holding on to shit like clothing from high school and stuff. I can let that go. Like I don't need that shit no more. Like it was a great time. Love it. See ya. Bye. So it's been helping, but can I show? Can I
Yes,
show?
I want to see.
All right. Here's Mandy's 8th grade page. This was like the most exciting thing about our school was getting to do your 8th grade page. And like,
Oh my
look at her,
God.
singing. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I'm with our friend Autumn. Cute.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even remember. Yeah, you had half a page.
Oh,
Oh, look at little baby Mandy.
they're so cute. I can get this. I can get this. This is so hard. Look at how cute you are.
I have not seen that in so long, and this is so exciting to like think about and review. Like I'm looking at like what words did I connect with? Like what's
Okay,
on
so
there? What parts are still me? What's fallen away? Like that's so cool, Lexi. What a surprise.
dancing diva star, luscious, power babe, hero, gentle by design, crush, music, I told you so, Sagittarius. What does that say? The Earth Angel.
Wow.
Star. Seriously. Hero. She's got game. Yeah. So amazing. So I just thought that was really special.
That's so special. Thank you. Thank you for holding that. Thank you for sharing it with me. I probably have my own copy somewhere, but I have like some chills. I haven't revisited that or that energy about myself. And it's so cool how we're so hard on ourselves. And like, it's, oh gosh, basketball.
Yes.
So that's one thing that fell away. Oh, hi, Kara. Good afternoon. So glad you're here. Thank you. Lexi, you are adorable. We are adorable. This is so nice and so fun. And it's so cool to like look back. Yeah, the earth, especially so the earth angel thing, that's so funny because back then I was really not into anything religious and I was like very anti it at the time, if anything, and questioning so much. But one thing I always say is I've always believed in angels and I've always connected with angels. And I just think that's really cool that that ended up making its way on that page at that time because that was probably pretty touch or go at that time with my own consciousness.
And you want to know what your class prophecy said?
Oh God, yes.
Okay, class prophecy was Mandy stars in a new Broadway musical about an aspiring professional basketball player and sings the chorus of several songs she wrote in 8th grade.
I'm pretty sure Vanessa wrote all these. We need to contact Vanessa and find out if she wrote our class prophecies because I think she did, and that's hilarious. And that's one thing that fell away. I was really into basketball. Like when I lived in New Jersey, I was like as tall as I am now, and when I was 12, and I was pretty good at basketball. And I wasn't great, but I was like decent and tall. And so I played on travel teams and different things, and there was like a competition. And when I moved to Vermont, like that didn't exist as much. And it was like I was way out of my element. I was like way taller, like a foot taller than the tallest boy at the time. Like there was so much going on. And I switched to snowboarding, and it's where I found my peace and my solace. And when I was like, I played freshman year, I played basketball, and then I switched to snowboard team. And it was something that was such a huge part of me. And that was people identified me with too for a while because I like coached and like did all kinds of stuff. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna quit basketball and do snowboarding. And it was just like it wasn't the level of competition in Vermont, and the level of competition was with snowboarding. And that's what I wanted to work on anyway and be. And it was awesome. So that's so cool and fun. And thank you, Lexi. What a cool surprise. Anything of you in there? Do you have yours?
I do. I didn't bring mine up.
I want to know what Lexi says about her too.
I don't have my 8th grade one for some reason, which is really. It's got to be somewhere.
I know someone who has it.
Becca, that has it. But I do have my high school one.
Probably.
How pathetic. How pathetic was my high school one? Oh my God.
Lexi, what would Louise say to you right now? What terrible affirmations.
I just can't. I can't share it. I cannot. It's just.
Okay.
No, okay. I will. Okay, ready? Shh. High school. I didn't have like professional photos done. I almost wasn't going to have a photo. I was like, this is so stupid. Like I was just so disconnected from the high school experience. That is so lame. It is so lame.
My girl. Are you kidding me?
So
you look like you were doing paranormal investigations already.
I would definitely hike into like weird places in the woods, and like I loved it because we would go snowmobiling to this place up in Vermont. It's like, okay, so we would leave from by Rutland and go up, and there's these old stone buildings, like old stone buildings, and like you always feel like you're being watched, and it feels like it's so there's like what do they call it? It's something creeper. Anyway, so yeah, totally was. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's see how far back it goes. But okay. My little like future and fame, like everybody had to write future and fame thing. I didn't even put a quote down. How lame am I? Everybody else had quotes. I didn't have a quote.
You need to stop. I think this is an opportunity for shadow work to go back and send little Lexi a whole lot of love.
Oh,
Teenage Lex deserves it because you were amazing.
I wrote, go to Florida for school and then work in the spa industry. Something like that. Maybe a family. Wherever the wind takes me.
Look at that.
Geeking over here.
See, I love it. That's how I felt. If you're just hopping on, thank you for tuning on to Unschooled. Lexi and I started Unschooled today, unplanned, with a trip down down our yearbooks. So that was fun. And I got to visit 8th grade Mandy, and Lexi just got to visit high school graduation Lexi.
Oh my gosh, it's just so crazy how time flies, right?
I was just thinking about that. Like, I'm 37 now. I'm going to be 40 before I know it. And when I'm 40, I'm just as close to 20 as I am to 60. And I'm like, that's just like interesting. And like, time really does fly. And like, I'm just so excited for our generation too, and to see what we all do and how long we live and the stuff we come up with and what's going to happen. Like, it's so exciting, all of it. And like, I'm enjoying growing older and wiser. And like, if I could, and I get it. It's an initiation. Like, don't you think about it? Like, if you could just take your confidence you have now and all the lessons you learn now and apply it to your younger self, like, how cool would that be? But that's not what life's all about, right?
I look at my oldest now, who's like, the preteen, and I spent probably, I don't know how much of my time being like, oh, wish you could go back to the good old days, right? So when we were young, well, like, no, these are the good days. Like, it's not like that. The good days are the present days, right? And it's like, I realize this like loaning to go back to these old feelings, right? These old emotions from the past are, I was holding on to some weight there, right? Like, instead of, I don't know, it was one of those situations where how these books came up was perfect with like that clearing work I had to do of like reflecting back and like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, those were great days. I don't want to go back though, because I'm so happy for where I am now, and to finally be able to let go of some of that shit from those days. And as you said, like, forgive myself, love myself in those moments, those things that, when you're a teenager and you do things that make your parents mad and they scold you and your little inner child gets hurt and wounded, and then you don't realize how that wound carries on with you. And that all of that stuff,
we keep punishing ourselves long after that incident.
Yeah, we do. I know I do.
Which is part of our unschooling, rewriting the way we speak to ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves and show up for ourselves in this magical Earth School.
And the way we feed ourselves, right? Feed our soul and our bodies. Should we share about our teas?
So today during Unschooled, Lexi and I were like, happy spring. There's so much going on. Both of us have wicked ADD and like we're all over the place. And we have a whole list of potential topics right here. But happy spring, happy new moon. We're so feeling this energy. Ursula, welcome. We're so glad you're here. She said you're a goddess, Lexi. And you are. Ursula has an amazing podcast that's out on our network called Becoming Chiron. And in the beginning of each episode, she does an astro forecast about what's going on, what's happening in the world, or in the stars, I should say, and how it's impacting our world and potentially your timeline at this time. And there's a great little short in a clip that we did. We learned how to do that this week. So you can check that out on any of our social medias. And Ursula's incredible. And she's going to be having a recorded class called Lunar Alchemy coming to you soon, available for download, and I think you'll all enjoy that so much. So thank you for being here, Ursula, and being here to bless us in the astrological amazing new year we have going on with our new moon, and we have our new season happening. So yeah, for me, a lot's been stirring up, and one thing I'm getting allergies this week, and I feel like my face is a little swollen. I don't feel like I have it's my normal allergies. I do not want to take an allergy pill. I'm like, I'm over it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to take one. I've been detoxing and cleaning, and I don't want anything else in there. And so Lexi was like, what teas are good for that? And I'm like, what teas are good for that? And I know there's lots of teas that are good for that. So Lexi said stinging nettle and thyme. And I was so excited because yesterday I was out in my garden just doing a little prep work, and my thyme plant overwintered, and I have a bunch of fresh thyme that came up. And so I'm now drinking a cup of very fresh thyme tea from my garden because Lexi looked it up and suggested it, and it's going to help me with my allergies. So we were going to talk a little bit about allergies and dealing with that for a moment.
Yeah, and I've got a cup of stinging nettles for mine because as this energetic time works with our natural body systems and our seasons, our cycles, it's very common to have allergies start to become triggered as things start to blossom in our area, as things start to warm up, things start to come back to life. So it's one of those things, and we also feel like that purging, that cleansing.
I think either I'm breaking up or Lexi's breaking up a little bit. Kara said, isn't nettle also good for allergies? It is. And that's what we were just talking about. There she is. You're back. She's connecting in.
Nettle is also good for allergies.
And if you have pain, I use that a ton for like chronic pain and for inflammation and to help reverse gout damage. And then the other thing was my fibromyalgia. And Crystal, our buddy, Crystal, the mid-mitten medium, actually, I should say now she's paranormal LL. I can't keep up with it. But you guys all know Crystal. She's amazing. She's the best. She's going to laugh when she sees this. But she and I both on totally different opposite sides of the country in different places and whatever started drinking nettle tea for our fibromyalgia, and it helped tremendously. And all of a sudden we were moving, shaking, healing in all kinds of ways, so much better. So that's got all kinds of good stuff going on with it. And like if it serves you, like you can't get enough of it.
Yeah. And you can also have, this is my favorite thing about teas. And I feel like teas are the craft of being able to create your own tea, is the craft of being able to like self-love and self-nurture and care, right? It is feeding your body and your soul. And so you can really take what you're needing at that time and feed your soul that. So you could mix stinging nettles, dandelion, thyme. You can have fun making little combos. I always say do your homework too to make sure you're not, but it's beautiful when you can create that cup of tea that your body and your soul is craving, because it just feels magical. And that's like my favoriteest thing to do, is to create that and help people find that, because it's like when somebody, when you drink it and you feel it, you can feel it's like filling your cup back up, right? It's filling your body up, and it's just the gift of the herbal spirits, right?
Herbs are incredible, and this is part of Unschooled. They got labeled as herbs. They are labeled as weeds mostly because they, wanted us to think they were a nuisance or didn't serve us. Dandelions, they're popping up everywhere right now, and they're one of the most powerful herbal teas we can have. Dandelion, parsley. I can't even. There's like so many. It's overwhelmingly amazing.
Plantain. How does it? It's the one. You know which one I'm talking about?
Purslane?
No, plantain. It's Platain.
I don't yet, but okay. I can't wait to learn about it.
They label as a weed, and you'll see it everywhere. And it's this really cool one. It's got like these bigger, leaves, and then it grows up, and it almost looks like just like it's green. I want to say like little buds, like almost like a little tiny, like miniature. You know how Brussels sprouts grow? Like that, up like that. It grows up like that with little buds. And it has so many properties, and it's been labeled a weed. And then they sell you weed killer to kill it. And we need it. It's good stuff. Good stuff. It's like the dandelion.
She's like, refrain from rant and back in. That's just it, and we spray poison on the things that are healing us, and it's fascinating how that works. And dandelions are incredible. They heal you. You can eat almost every part of it, I think, or every part of it, or use it. And literally like poison ivy. I can't remember the name of it, but there's an herb that always grows within 50 feet of poison ivy that you can create a salve with and heal your poison ivy. And it's like the antidote is right next to it, right there. Like nature's always trying to help us. And when things randomly pop up in your yard, like all of a sudden, oh my God, I got all these dandelions. Oh my God, I got this weed, or this is popping up. A lot of the times that's because we are, craving it or needing it, or spirit is trying to tell us like, hey, this plant could heal you, so we're going to grow it. It's going to pop up right around you, right there for you. And we're so busy, we're so ingrained in our world and to not be connected to our natural world that we don't even realize these miraculous gifts from God that pop up next to us to heal us. And it's fascinating, I think.
Yeah, that's what happened with comfrey with me.
Right, I remember that.
That was like my experience with comfrey. It was there, and next thing you knew, I led me down the rabbit hole, and I now swear by it, and like, oh, it's a beautiful plant to work with and have, and it's good for your gardens.
And can't you make like patches with that too and stuff for your body?
Yeah, it's great. It's one of the best. It's a go-to for me for if anybody has, anything broken, sprains, put it like crush it up. You can make even a little tea, like a tea bath of it, soak some cloth fabrics in it, and then put it on the affected area, wrap it in plastic wrap. You can put a heating pad on it or leave it on, and your body heat will do its thing. Potent stuff. And I swear we used it for my son when he sprained his ankle, and we went in for a checkup because I wanted to make sure it was healing properly, right? And it was already healed, and they were like, oh, you don't even need this anymore. They're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, wow. So just saying, give it a try.
Just saying, we're very trial and error on a lot of things, and things have worked out for us, right?
Yeah, castor oil packs too. The importance, why are we not teaching to do regular castor oil packs, even on our children? Because there is so many ways to use it. If you have thyroid problems, kidneys, you can do it on your stuff. Like, there's just so many ways to use it on, affected areas, ankles, bones. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. My husband didn't know what was going on with his hands. He was having issues, and thank God Mandee recommended the castor oil packs, because it has since changed our lives and many other people's, because it's just amazing what it can help your body do.
And I believe that healers are people who trigger within you the ability to heal yourself. Yeah. And I believe that the path of a healer is to go and discover your own wounds and learn how to heal them, and then share it with others who might have similar ones. And I always feel like that's like one of our best paths, like, is just all we have is our own experience and what worked for us. And for me, I had so much joint damage. And so I had broken my back 3 times. I had broken both my ankles a bunch. I had gout on top of that, plus a bunch of other shit. And I had severe joint damage. And so what happened was I found out at some point, I wish I remember who told me about it. I feel like I learned it when we were back doing the Alchemy Sisters, my first little podcast show and network with one of my previous favorite teachers. And what happened was Edgar Cayce was talking a lot about it back in his books, and I was starting to study Edgar Cayce, and different things were coming up, and these signs, spirit was literally like popping in these castor oil pack things. And it's really easy. You just order castor oil, organic, cold pressed is the best, I think. And what you do is you get like an old flannel sheet. If you don't have one, buy a cheap flannel sheet, cut it into strips. Flannel works the best. And then I squirt what I do is I squirt the oil all over the flannel, and then I wrap it around my ankles, or you can do your hands, or you can make a pack on your belly or your back, or you can do it for your liver, all kinds of really cool things. And then I would put, you can do it on your thyroid. You can do it anywhere. It's amazing what it does for you. And then I would put plastic bags, like a gallon plastic bag over it of my ankles. And then I'd wrap it in, an ace bandage, and it was like wearing these like weird socks, and I could still get up and go to the bathroom, whatever. I'm not like bound. And the cool thing, in the morning when I'd wake up and I'd unpack it, all that oil, and I'd like douse it in oil, would be absorbed and my body would take it on. And the best thing that it helped me clear up the fastest, that was the most painful, was I had a bone spur. I was supposed to maybe have some surgery on my ankle. It was like kind of on my heel, in between my heel and my ankle, and it dissolved it. Gone. And I was like, so it does amazing things, and and it helps women give like birth and induce labor and all kinds of stuff if needed. So it's very great for your skin and your hair and all kinds of stuff. So we're big castor oil fans.
Huge castor oil fans.
Kara said, I have fibro and I really enjoyed nettle. Thanks to your referral last week or the week before. You are so welcome. We talk about it on our shows because it's worked for us. It's helped. So, yes, if anyone has any questions or comments, thank you for being here. I know we got a few people watching on, and we love you all and we're grateful. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, let us know. And if not, just enjoy Lexi and I's unschooled babble. So far, what an interesting spring episode we've had. We took a little history lesson back down to high school and checked out our younger selves in junior high and high school. And then we just talked about allergies for a while. And time tea is also incredibly anti-inflammatory. I'm almost done mine because it's that healing and so great. Here's my fresh thyme. I have like a bunch of other ones in here too. I don't want to get it on my computer, but I just cut fresh right from my garden and drop it on in. So I probably have like 6 or 7 of those, and it's just amazing. I feel better already.
It's so good. Yeah. I've got my windowsill and I use it. It's one of my favorites. It's so easy to grow too in your windowsill. It just, I got thyme and lemon thyme.
My lemon thyme overwintered too, and I really thought about harvesting that today, but there was a little less than my other thyme, and I was like, I'm going to let my lemon thyme keep going a little bit, but it's coming for me in a week or so.
Yeah. So fun. Good stuff for spring clean out of the body.
And that helps us to also, we were talking about that with spring cleaning. It's just releasing energy. When we hold on to these old things, this is where this all started. Lexi found her yearbooks because when we hold on to all things that aren't.
Because I found the yearbooks because of needing to clean out.
Yep.
Get rid of stuff. And that was one of the things I said, I'm not getting rid of. I'm going to get rid of all this other stuff. It helped me let go of that process.
Yeah. And when we move energy, we create room for the new. And when we're holding on to that, there's all kinds of energetic cords we don't even think about. And really, anyone can live in any way that they want. Beautiful, amazingness, earth school and whatnot. Lexi and I are both like very ADD, and we've come to find that the more we try to release and clutter or declutter, the more we can come into our own space. The less we focus on other things outside of us, the less responsibilities we have, the more time we have and room we have for spirit and things. So that's been working well for us. And we've been trying to feng shui and move stuff around. And I figured out what my success direction was, and I moved my desk that way. And I shit you not. And I've done this too with like my bed and stuff. Like I moved my desk and I put it in my success direction. And that day I got an interview. Someone reached out for me to do an interview for like free publicity. And I got 3 clients that booked right in a row. And they were all like, oh, I've been wanting to reach out to you for so long. I don't know why I haven't, but now I did. And I'm like, okay, thanks feng shui. And if you want a partner in your life, like I had my bed against my wall for a long time. And that's a sign or a symbol to the universe that you don't want someone on the other side of your bed or room for that. And so like, as soon as I moved it, I got like, I don't know, a bunch of friend requests from ex-boyfriends, things like that. And then I started dating someone like shortly after. And it was like, isn't this interesting? So if you ever want to be single again, push your bed back up in the corner and it'll help. And of course, nothing's set in stone, anything like that. But those are kind of the natural energies that we put out there. And I've come to learn feng shui is actually responsible for about 33% of our manifesting and our energy and our abundance. And so it's something I've had the time and space in my healing journey to work on. And like the journey of healing and rising and growing is never done. It never ends. And so there's always an opportunity Feng Shui is something I've heard of for a long time. Didn't have the time, energy, capacity to jump into that at that time. Could it have helped me at that time? I'm sure. But it wasn't, I was more into understanding mindfulness or my eating or something like that. So just remember, like, there's so many things for all of us to learn into practice, but choose to step into the ones that are calling to you at this time. And so for Lexi, that's what's been going on. This energy's been choosing to work with her a bit right now, huh?
Yeah, major clean out, inside and out.
Inside and out. We talked about parasites last week. More of that still happening. The purge
Yeah.
of the parasites in all the ways.
Yeah, the purge of the parasites. And, one of the things that through it all is that I kind of brought awareness to is like the spiritual parasites too. Do you know what I mean? Like this, you can kind of get stuck with certain things, thought patterns, beliefs, and we block ourselves of certain energy. And it's like,
Yeah.
take that action, right? And make that step and start releasing and clearing out that impacts our energy. It's funny because was it last night on Spirit Speaks talking about, you know, the energy you put out is what you get back. Was that one of the topics last night? No.
I think we talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, it's
If not, we talked about it recently. But yeah,
I
we've
know,
been. I don't know.
I'm like,
We all talk so much, it gets confusing. But yes,
I had this
let's
conversation.
talk about it now.
So it's just, we are energy. We are magnetic energy, right? Our heart there's technically, two energy fields within our body, right? You have your solar plexus, your your area that you were birthed from, right? And your heart. And these two, when you're in flow and they're both flowing, it's like you're positive and you're negative, right? You're this battery and you create this energy field around you. We're in another energy field. So the energy field, the space that you are in, right? And a lot of us are sensitives. A lot of us empaths have such sensitivities, right? And sometimes we're not aware of them. When we're not aware of them, it's a lot of times where we get blocked, feel stagnant, feel like cursed, as I always thought. I always thought I was cursed. No, it's energy block, right? It's just mindset too. What am I telling myself? There's all those things that come with it. So to make room and release, make the space like on the outside and in, right? When we do this, when I feel called to do this cleanse, and I was looking back, it was exactly a year ago too, that we were doing a cleanse. So it was that spring clean out, that spring cleanse of the body. And it really helped to make that room, I felt like, to connect with intuition and spirit and manifest a lot cleaner, right? Because I feel like I can manifest things, but like then I realized like, oh, I manifested this and I was not aware of what I was manifesting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so amazing what that clean out can lead to and the process of it, because we always want to be cleaned out and in that perfect state, but the process of getting there is actually where I feel like all the magic happens, right? Like all that beauty, that
That's where
work.
we discover our old yearbook and clean out our cobwebs.
Yes, and make the realizations you're ready to let go of things you've been holding on for however many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Traumas too. You can flip through an old yearbook and remember old traumas that you've suppressed and not wanted to think about, old hurts and pains and rejection. I always felt like the odd one out. That's why when I look at my high school yearbook, it's a little painful because I felt so awkward in those days. I did not feel like I fit in. I was not a part of the cliques. I was, you know what I mean? So I look at it and I'm like, oh, it brings me back to a time of awkwardness. I'm still just as awkward, but but you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, oh, so I got to meet myself today, re-looking at it again, thanks to Mandee's support with a little more love, right? And compassion.
I look back and it was like so quick, my high school, junior high and high school experience. And I think I was always a little more mature. Let's be real. Like I'm fucking a weirdo and like conscious, and I always had been in weird ways. And like I was like having cool heart to hearts with my teachers, and like that's who I was connecting with on an intellectual level, not so much the kids around me. And I'd have sleepovers, like I'd have all these girl sleepovers like every weekend, and it was cool and fun, and I enjoyed holding the space. But like I was always like a little like kind of made fun of, never like that close with anyone. And then in high school, I always got along with everybody. I was always like kind, and I was a good athlete and teammate and things like that. But I was always definitely a loner. And then I started working like the day I turned 14, which was like early in my eighth grade year, I think. Yeah. And then eighth grade or freshman year, eighth grade year. And so then in eighth grade, I was like starting to like party with all these older people. And I didn't drink and I didn't smoke weed or anything because I came from a long line of like alcoholics and partiers. And I was like, I want to be around it, but I don't want to do it. But I was definitely out and about with a lot of older people doing things I probably shouldn't have done, stuff like that. The boys, I'd get hit on all the time. Like that's where I get all my attention because I had this like body and everybody thought I was like 20, but I was like 14. And so even like I remember like I planned like our like a big part, like we had a prom committee, but I was definitely a big part of it and planned like the whole high school prom. And like I showed up and like we had like we did like the prom court and all the things. And then I left early to go to my after prom date, which was like a guy who like managed a snowboard shop in town and was like way too old for me. I was like 17 and he was probably like 26 or 27 at the time. And like then we went to like a fucking 50 Cent concert the next day. And I lied about it. I lied about what I was doing. Oh yeah, I'm going to Project Prom after. Like, you know, like I just was like doing whatever. And so I look back on things at first I used to kind of feel shame or guilt or like weirdness around that. And then I look back and I'm like, I was just on such a different kind of plane and level. And like, I'm really grateful I was protected because I definitely was in situations I shouldn't have been a lot of the time. And there was definitely things I could have been influenced by or, you know, dangerous things could have happened. And luckily it didn't. But I was definitely a fly on the wall for a lot of cool things too. And just like, I don't know, like my boss I worked for definitely was like into me. And I got a lot of like attention, you know, because I had like daddy wounds at the time. I've healed a lot of that now. But back then I was like, all right. And I thought he was like more of a dad until one night where he like hit on me and started like, you know, doing stuff. And I was like, oh shit. And everything switched. And so there's all these things when like you look back to high school and you're like, whoa, like, did that happen? What happened? Like, what's going on there? Like, what happened? Like, you know, and like all of us have our own experience. And almost every single person felt like an outcast, felt awkward in some way or another. And some of my best friends now are from high school that I wasn't even friends with in high school. Like one of our best friends, mutual friends, Elizabeth, like she and I, we played like freshman year field hockey together and we were, but like she actually did write in my senior yearbook, which was shocking because we like never really like played the same sports after that or were in the same classes or hung out. And then it was like when we were in college and came home and like we hit it off one summer and like, you know, rest was history and it was great, but we'd always kind of known each other. So like you just never know. And I just encourage everyone to have such grace and truth and vulnerability and humility because we're all just learning. We're all just doing the best we can. And we're all just trying to survive and thrive. And when we look back, like we were talking about too, like when I was in eighth grade, I got bullied really bad. I always had huge boobs. So everybody was always sexually harassing me and grabbing my boobs and all that stuff. And then because I was like this big, tall basketball player, they made a movie out of me my eighth grade year. They like secretly filmed me the whole year and made a movie called MANDEE ELAM and like premiered it at eighth grade exhibition in front of the whole school. And it was like, that definitely traumatized me. It took a while for me to get over. And then what happened is I took that on and I'd be like, oh yeah. And I was strong and I should have been lifting weights. I need to go back to lifting weights, honestly. This is probably rising for a reason because I was strong as fuck and I was way stronger than a lot of the dudes in the gym and things like that at school. And they would make fun of me for it. And so part of that too was this whole MANDEE ELAM thing because I was a good basketball player and I was really strong and all this stuff. So then I felt like this horrible, ugly beast. And I would like call myself that like every day throughout high school. And I wouldn't lift and I wouldn't like, I would pretend I was weak and like different things. And I started to hide because of what others thought. Luckily now, clearly here we are 20 years later, done a lot of healing, done a lot of growing, able to look back on that. Wisdom is when you look back on things and it doesn't have that emotional charge. Like it's like that's forgiveness too. It's like when you can look back on stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that happened, but it doesn't feel like, you know, oh my God, this happened. It's just like, all right, let me take the lessons and move forward and like, all right, I'm going to add that to my wisdom bank of experience. And so these things looking back now, I've realized like, oh, these were all opportunities to step into my power and to grow and to do really cool things. I even got asked several times to be a plus size or a regular model. I wasn't even plus size then, just to be a model. And then but I wouldn't say yes because I felt like I was like MANDEE ELAM and like all this stuff. And so there's always these opportunities to go back and rewrite and meet yourself with love and meet yourself with grace and tell yourself the things like now, like, what did you need to know most then? So Lexi, like if you don't mind sharing or being a little vulnerable, when you look at that senior picture of yourself that we brought up in the beginning of this episode, like, what did you need to hear most then?
I
What did
think
you do most?
present and to enjoy that experience, because I when I look back, I just remember not being able to wait to have it over, right? Rushing to get out of there, rushing to end that time. So when I look back, I'm like, I really did myself a disservice in the sense of always chasing something. I was chasing something else instead of just being present, you know? So I was always going to work, got to save the money, got to make the money, got to save up. It was just like one of those things where I didn't, I didn't go to many parties. I didn't, do slumber parties. I had a boyfriend. I always had a boyfriend. That's like one thing I have to say. I hope my kids spend some more time free than attached.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I always had a boyfriend. I was always in a relationship. They were like 3-year relationships. And
We had serious relationships when we were young.
Woo! Too serious for that age. I didn't get to be a kid enough. So it's like, don't rush the growing up process, really. You know what I mean? So when I sat down to do like my journaling after finding these and like write down what came up, it was more so like having to hold that part of me, right, from those days that felt gypped, like that didn't get to live out a normal childhood or the normal, right? So that forgiveness of, and it's so funny because MANDEE and I were just talking about money before. It was chasing
abundance is on our list.
It was chasing, financial this and get out of this. And this is, it's so great to be an adult. I just, we're getting closer to freedom. Like, it's so weird to now look at it and I see my kids, my oldest son wanting to work. And I'm like, don't work, just be a kid. Just enjoy your free summer. You don't have to work right now. Don't. Go be a kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, go be a kid. I feel like childhood is getting robbed from us in so many ways.
Well, and at least we now have, thank you, Time Tea. I feel like I'm like so much more open now that I drank this and like everything's popping, which is great. That's just it too. Like each generation, I think we're getting better and better at saving the children and helping them to become children and be children more and more than they were. We were more kids than our parents got to be. Their parents, Jesus, they were all like shipped off, modern day slaves. They had big families to do farm work, stuff like that. So we've come a long way in all of that. And I think it's so important that we continue to honor that and restore innocence as long as we can, or, soul pass, people are going to do what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't think anybody could have stopped me in my strong-willedness and helped me preserve my innocence more than I know a lot of that was what I chose to do as a soul too. When I look back on it, no matter what anybody would have told me, I probably would have gone the opposite way. So we have to hold the space for that too. But I love that you're encouraging that and like, and encouraging him to be a kid and to enjoy that. And, for a lot of us, we had to work. You want spending money, you better go to work, go figure it out. Go,
Yeah. Well, that's like when you said about starting to work at 14, I remember I wanted a snowboard. Got a job at snowboard shop. Got that snowboard, that helmet, that gear.
Yeah.
Worked for that. Oh, you want to pass? Got a job at the mountain. Like,
exactly.
I worked at the mountain. So, I mean, I guess, but it was one of those things where I feel like we are so quick to want to grow up. We're so quick to chase after something because even once we grow up, we're still chasing after, like, once I have the money, once I'm skinny, once I have the boyfriend or the husband, or once I have the family. And so it's so funny because one of those things, I had a moment, I'm going to be so raw and honest here. I had a moment where I was like, what did I manifest for myself? I'm overwhelmed, right? It's like, I'm so overwhelmed. Am I the right person for this? And I'm like, why did I manifest this for myself? Like, how did I wish this? And I kind of looked back and had a moment. I was like, we're kind of sold to become a mom, right? And to want a family. We're sold to like follow, or not sold, but conditioned for so long. Like they start training you young, right? Little mama, here, have a little purse and a little diaper bag and a little baby to take care of. Which is great, like to take care of people, but it was just one of those things where it was like I realized that through chasing something, always chasing something, and not, I was never really present, right? It took away from being actually present, and that's where the gift is when we're present in that very moment. So I feel like we rob ourselves of that, and of course I feel like there's outside conditions that have done a great job at making that normal.
Oh
Make it,
yeah, let's start with the church, and let's start with, there's so many things that we've been influenced in with our, what is expected of us because of society. And
yeah,
it is amazing when you just watch kids be like natural. Our amazing friend Vanessa, like she's done such a good job of like helping her beautiful daughter be amazing and wild and free. And just like she comes up with she says the funniest shit. She comes up with the coolest shit. Things like I never even thought of, like during COVID, she's like, what do you want to be for Halloween? And she's like, the UPS man, because that was like her hero at the time. And that was her friend and the person she got to visit the most and like all this stuff. And it was so cool. And like, that wouldn't have even been an option in my little brain's world, probably at that time.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
little things like that is where we can see it. And Kara said, when the kids are grown, she said, my kids are grown and I still don't know what I want to be when
Yeah.
and I
Well,
love that.
I'm seeing how already, and I remember how there was such a pressure too in high school to pick what you wanted to be for the rest of your life. What are you going to be? What are you going to go do for the rest of your life? And I'm like, this whole limiting yourself to one path is just so exhausting. And it's like I keep encouraging my kids to try multiple things. Like you can always change it up. You can always learn something new. You can always go to that, you know what I mean? Like feel around, get a taste. You don't really know what's out there yet, right? It's the time to explore. And so I don't know. I'm coming at this. It's beautiful, painful experience of those realizations, right? And then trying to figure out how to apply this, right? As a mother, as a parent, how do I take my learned lessons? And my kids are so my teachers right now. I feel like I'm in the depth of like a reschooling, and my
Ooh.
kids are my teachers. They're these little mirrors teaching me so much right now. So it's just incredible. It's potent.
Potent. Well, we talked about a couple of the things on our list, but we definitely have lots of other things for other days. And thank you all so much for tuning in and for joining us today on Unschooled. We never quite know where we're going to go, but it usually has to do with starting to deconstruct, starting to unschool ourselves and reschool ourselves on things that are going to serve us now at this time. And one thing Lexi and I definitely truly believe, Kara, is in letting, when things are ready to fall away, let them fall away. And when new things, especially new things to explore and learn, are rising, to follow them and check it out and see what is there for you. And so I'm glad you brought that up. And that's like what we like to do here on Unschooled. And Lexi and I are schooling ourselves behind the scenes on some pretty cool stuff that we're excited to share with you when the time comes. But we're not quite ready or informed enough to do that yet. We're still learning. We're still in school on that one, but just know we've got some great topics coming this season. A little controversial, but hey, isn't it always? And cheers, Lexi, to our time and nettle tea and our incredible younger versions of ourselves.
Yeah. And let us know if there's a topic that you want to talk about, you want to hold space around, you're interested in. Let us know. We want to have feedback. And right now I feel like the theme with this new moon is like it's nurturing that inner child, making sure that your relationship is loving on the inner parts of yourself and creating that peace inside and out. So
Absolutely. Well, I love you, Lex. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. If you're interested in holding any one-on-one space with us, please reach out. Let us know. We've got a beautiful website, SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. Lexi, what are you offering right now? And what do you have coming up?
Oh, yes. So I have coming up every other Sunday is Goddesses in Recovery, a Zoom group that we meet at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's just a nice little sacred space to come together and create a tidal wave of change around addiction and recovery. So if you're in recovery, have a loved one in recovery, or are a recovery advocate and feel called to join us, come join us in our beautiful space. And
Mhm.
and I'm also on Sea Goddess Healing Arts, and I do have a coupon code Lexi15 if you would feel called to book a session with me. It's 15% off with the code. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Lex. And same thing, I'm on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. And if you made it to the end of this live and you want to hold some soul space with me, my code is MANDEE Live on any of my services, and it'll give you 50% off. So check that out. We have a drum circle coming up on Thursday night if you're in the South Jersey area. Lots of events, lots of cool classes. And Lexi and I will be releasing this week our next version of Shadow Twerk, Mercury Retrograde Edition. So be posted. We hope you join us. We're so excited. And thank you all for joining us today on Unschooled. See you soon, Lex, for our next meeting. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.